Hey there, and welcome to the first episode of Witch's Kitchen. So, in this series, I will be returning back to what I refer to as my first love, which was cooking. And so, I had mentioned a couple months ago, toward the end of the year, that I really wanted to get back into cooking, and I have been penning all of these delightful recipes, making everyone on my timeline hungry. And so, for Christmas, the assistant mom, she gave me a bunch of awesome cookware, including this most fabulous electric skillet, which is just perfect for filming as long as I don't keep bumping the camera. So I have left the recipe for this dish that I decided to make, and a few key notes. I go rogue really bad on certain things. So one of them is seasoning. It says some cute little amounts of seasoning, a teaspoon of salt here or whatever. I do not listen to that. I cannot eat no bland food, so I season to taste. You feel free to do the same or follow the recipe. The second thing I go rogue on is usually sauce. There really isn't sauce in this recipe, but I'm not eating any dry food, so I usually use more than they say. The third thing that I go rogue on, super rogue, is cheese. I don't understand why people put these cutesy little amounts of cheese in their recipe, but like, I need to see the strings of cheese coming up when I pull my fork up out the meal. And so I usually double what they say. Okay, but other than that, I pretty much am good at following, the bulk, the important parts of the recipe. So in this section that I've been chatting all through, I've been browning the ground beef so that it's nice and right, and then I will be adding the additional ingredients after it's perfect and brown. Alright, so I paused the camera for a second to drain the ground beef, and then I added the garlic. It'll be nice to know, maybe, for you people that like to follow the rules, that I did not go rogue on the garlic and put the instructed amount. And then I added the chopped onions and parsley and stirred it in a bit. And so this recipe also called for already made noodles, but I did not have any, so it also said that you could obviously just make the noodles and then reserve some of the water from the noodles, some of the water that you use to boil the noodles. I'm not sure why that water in particular as opposed to just water out of the filter or the sink, but whatever. I was trying not to go super rogue. Anyway, so I sectioned off some of that water and then drained my noodles, and then I'm having a little stir fest here. So I added the starchy water, and then the recipe also calls for tomato paste, which is always so pasty and sticky. And so I just struggled through scooping the allotted amount out of the container. And once I get it in there, I'm just going to try to mash it into the recipe, which was really a lot of fun. Not really, but I got it in there, and that's the point. Alright, so now adding in some Worcestershire sauce. It took me like 6 years to figure out how to pronounce that word. Don't judge me. I bet you struggle with it too. Anywho, so added in the correct amount of that as well. to sort of create the sauce, if you will. And at some point, I think I added a little extra water in as well, just to make it a little saucier. Okay, so I guess I did go a smidge rogue on that too. I mean, I'm a work in progress. What do you want from me? Alright, so I covered it and let it simmer for whatever the allotted time was. And I figured especially covering it would help me preserve the, sauce like consistency. What is wrong with me today? The sauce like consistency that we're going for in this recipe. Heaven help us. And it turned out to be really nice. The vegetables, turned out to have a great texture, and it had the whole house smelling absolutely fabulous. Alright, so I've tossed in the pasta and mixed it in real good, and now here's the ultimate rogue section of the video where I throw in at least 2 times the amount of cheese that the recipe calls for. I mean, I'm not sorry. I was gonna say I'm sorry, but I'm not. It turns out amazingly cheesy and delicious, and I regret nothing. Anyway, so I dump a bunch of cheese in there, stir it all up, dump some more cheese in there. Really, it's hard to have too much cheese. I'm one of those people that goes to Olive Garden and the lady looks at me like for 20 minutes in aggravation because I still haven't said you can stop adding cheese. That's me. Anywho, so I'm adding cheese. I'm gonna stir it up. I'm gonna put the lid back on the skillet for a bit so it can get all nice and melty, and it's gonna be heavenly. So, in rare form or not, I'm going to add one more defiant bit of cheese to the top of this recipe just to get it nicely coated and wonderfully cheesy and the best thing ever in the whole entire universe. And then, not to be dramatic or anything, I add a little parsley for decoration because that's what the recipe has said. See, I'm back to leaving my roguish ways. And I'll put the top on just to melt the cheese up. And we're gonna be good to go. And I just want you to know this was one of the most amazing and delicious things ever. Even the sabotager ate it with no problem. Just putting that out there. Thanks for coming by. I appreciate you. See you next time.